Wonderful. Okay. So, hi, everybody. This is the info session for the Amgen Prize Innovation for Patients with Rare Diseases. So happy to have you all here with us to learn more about this prize and the process for applying for it. First, we'll do a little bit of introduction. So my name is Taewee Kars. I'm a senior officer of the health program here at MIT Solve. I'm joined by my colleague, Noelle Shaskin, who is the lead of the health programming at MIT Solve. We also have a couple colleagues from Amgen who are joining us today, Sharon and Scott. I'll quickly hand it over to Sharon to do some introductions, both of herself as well as a little background on Amgen.
Thanks, Taewee. Good morning from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon Mathewis. I'm the Corporate Affairs Lead for Amgen in Massachusetts. And here is a really great summary of what Amgen does. I won't read it to you, but we're really pleased to be able to partner with MIT Solve and present the Amgen Prize this year and relaunch it coming over from the Horizon Prize. So thank you to all of you who are connected today and tuned in to learn more about it, and to those of you who are engaged. And we really appreciate your participation, your interest. Amgen's mission is first and foremost to serve patients. And so we are really grateful to be able to work with innovators here to meet that mission, and specifically to help serve patients with rare diseases. So with that, I will turn it back over to Taewee and Noelle.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sharon, for that. So that's on the Amgen side. On MIT Solve side, quickly, Solve is an initiative of MIT. We launch open calls like the Amgen Prize and others across a variety of thematic areas, looking for people all around the world who are solving for those most complex, impactful challenges that are facing us. And we work to support them and try to help them scale their impact to drive lasting change. So the reason we're all here on this call today, the Amgen Prize. The focus of the prize, and really the question that we're asking this year, is how can nonprofits use innovation to improve the journey for patients with rare diseases on a really wide continuum, from diagnosis to treatment, all the way through and including holistic care as well. There are a few particular dimensions, as we call them, that the prize is particularly interested this year, taking a little bit from that question and diving a little bit deeper into some specifics. So we have 4 key dimensions that the prize is looking for, elements from either solutions that take from multiple of these or that are focused specifically within any of these dimensions. So the dimensions are around improving the rare disease diagnostic journey. This could include solutions that reduce the time, the cost, resource burdens, duplicative travel and testing for patients as well as their caregivers. We're looking for solutions that optimize holistic care for people with rare diseases and their caretakers. So this includes the whole spectrum of well-being, including physical health, mental health, social well-being, and any other sort of supports that make that care really present. We're also looking for solutions that help to promote and engage community and connection among patients who are often really isolated, as well as caregivers who are often really overburdened and isolated within their journeys as well. And additionally, solutions that support the daily necessary care management for patients and caregivers are also sought after. In terms of eligibility, so this call is for nonprofits, so that's a tax-exempt organization in the US, or NGOs, civil society organizations, charitable organizations, basically nonprofit tax-exempt organizations equivalent in other countries all over the world. Just to note that eligibility for this award is subject to Amgen sole determination. So we'll be doing a little bit of looking into that tax-exempt status, making sure that eligibility is aligned. Additionally, your solution must be at the prototype stage or beyond. So the way that we define a prototype is an initial working, so functioning version of a solution, but it can be in the process of still getting initial feedback or testing with users. So it's possible to have zero direct user or beneficiaries, but we're really looking for a solution that is built, it's developed, it's functioning, but still needs some feedback and testing. So it would still be considered a concept if you have a product that hasn't really undergone any development, it isn't functioning yet, it's still really in the feasibility conceptual stage. In terms of timeline, this prize launched at the end of April. We're about 2 weeks out from the closing of the call of applications, so that the prize will close its application call on June 20th. From June 20th through the beginning of August, all applications will go through a handful of different screening and review periods to eventually get us to September, when there will be the winner selection live at a summit in New York that I'll talk about in just a second. Yes. So the prize benefits. Eventually, during the selection period, there will be 5 finalists selected by a group of judges. All 5 finalists will be invited to fly and stay in New York City to pitch and showcase their solutions live on stage during the 2024 Concordia Annual Summit. This is happening during the United Nations General Assembly Week. This is an incredibly busy, buzzing, international networking, conferencing week. So there's going to be a lot of different people at this event who are going to be able to listen in on your solutions. All 5 finalists will have access to the entirety of the Concordia Summit, so not just the pitch day or the pitch session that you will be doing. The event is a 3-day long event at the end of September. And as well, there will be plenty and ample press and media coverage throughout the event. Ultimately, of those 5 finalists, there will be one winner. That winner will be selected during the Concordia Annual Summit and then will be announced live on stage as well. And that one winner will receive the ultimate prize of $150,000. Before getting to the finalist stage and the ultimate winner, all applications will go through some evaluation based on about 7 different criteria. I'm going to go through each of them as well. They are weighted equally relative to each other, and all of them are also rated on a 5-point scale. So first is alignment. This is checking in to see that the solution really addresses one of the key dimensions that I discussed earlier in this session. There's potential for impact, so really looking into if your solution and the implementation of it really has the potential to reach the target population that you describe and really positively impact their well-being. Feasibility, in that we're looking for if you have realistic, practical plans and strategies for implementing your solution and ensuring that we have a really good read on the idea that your solution makes sense as in feasible within the context and populations in which you describe. We're also looking, of course, for your innovative approach. So this is looking at if your solution approaches the problem you're solving in a new or significantly improved way. This could include technology, but doesn't have to. We're also looking for new applications, new business models, new processes for solving these challenges. If you have an existing solution that's working really well, but you're shifting to adapt it to a new population that has so far had lower access or no access to these services, we would also consider that an innovative approach as well. We'll also be looking at inclusive human-centered design. So looking to see how you write about your solution being designed with and for underserved communities, and particularly if they're being designed along with your target populations. We also are looking if your entire solution team is able to demonstrate proximity to the community that you're working with, and how you are embodying and addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout the entire spectrum of your solution. We'll be looking at the later stages of selection around scalability. So is there a potential for your solution to scale a little bit higher or deeper or wider to affect lives of more people within your written target population? And additionally, we'll also be looking at how you plan to leverage the $150,000 of the Amgen Prize. So if there is a clear explanation for how your work, your solution would really benefit from the funding that the Amgen Prize will provide. On to the nitty-gritty bit of the application. So the application is divided into 4 sections. You'll see them here on the left. The only section that is absolutely required is the bolded section here, solution overview and team lead details. You must complete everything that is noted as being required within this section to be able to hit the submit button. So that'll sort of take care of itself. But time and time again, from our experience, we've seen that the more information you can provide about your solution, the more you can fill out the other 3 sections, the higher chance that the reader, the selector, the judges eventually on the other side are going to be able to really fully understand your context and your solution and be able to really match it and judge it against other solutions in ways that often work out better for those who provide more information. The application, very important piece, the application does not automatically save. That is just not a function of our website. You must manually save, and you must click the button Save, Draft, and Exit before clicking out of the window of your application. Additionally to that, the session as you're applying, if you leave the window up, it will automatically expire after 2 hours. So if you start your application, leave it to go get lunch, please click Save, Draft, and Exit before you walk away, or it's possible that you'll come back and all of the hard work that you've been doing just won't be there anymore. So please just get into the habit of saving your solution every once in a while as you're going through your application. Additionally, we ask that you really pay attention to the character, word, and file limits that we have listed within the application. Also, take a note that there are some differences in the questions around public information and internal use information. So once you submit these applications, they are eligible to become public on MIT's site. There are some questions, specifically demographic questions, that are really just internal use questions, and they're clearly defined within the application. That information won't show as public on the website when your solutions are published. That is just for our teams to look at. Additionally, we ask that if you include a video, like a YouTube link or something like that, please do check that you set the video privacy to public. Otherwise, you might go through the whole effort of making a short pitch video and we won't be able to see it on your application. You are also really encouraged and welcome to collaborate with other of your team members on your application. So everybody being able to go into the same document on our web platform. So you can go ahead and add them, but first they need to make an account. So if you go to edit your application, you'll search at the bottom of it to add a team member, as you see in the buttons here. Once you add them, they'll get an email and then they'll be able to join in and collaborate with you. In terms of who is designated as the team lead, our best practice is that the team lead should be the CEO or the executive director of your solution, or at the very least, sort of the highest ranking personnel within that specific team that's applying. Like I said before, to submit your solution, you must complete all the required questions or else the button just won't be usable to you. Um, Additionally, maybe a little bit common sense, but we get this every year. You need to submit by the deadline. We always have a host of, questions. We have a help desk you're welcome to use. But if you submit past the deadline or you wait until the very end of the timing to submit and you end up having a technical issue, we might not be able to help you to the point in which your solution is accepted. One thing that can be helpful is that we encourage you to, once you've filled out all of the required elements of your solution, you are able to submit your solution and then return to your application to continue editing until the final deadline. So you could submit after you finish the entire first section of required information, and then for the next couple of days until June 20th, you could go back into your solution or your application and continue tinkering with it until the final deadline. So that final deadline is clearly listed on the application, listed on our website as well, but it's June 20th, so just over 2 weeks away, and it's at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So that's midday Eastern time for us. It's not the end of the day on June 20th, it's the middle of the day. And like I said before, your solution will eventually potentially be publicly viewable after your submission. Okay, I think that's all I have from our side, but we now have ample time for some questions and answers from MIT Solve and Amgen side. So if there are any questions, please do either use the raise hand function, which is at the bottom of Zoom under reactions, or please feel free to just appropriately come off your mic and ask out loud.
I have a question.
Yes. Hi, David.
Anna, thank you. I thought I would share one thing with you, and then I'll talk a little bit about the prize. But just by way of background, I represent from several years ago Think Genetic. We actually won the first Horizon Prize, and I thought there may be questions about that. Here's what it looks like.
It looks great.
And this is the
Glad
check
you
that
have
was
it so
much
close
nicer.
by.
Yeah, you can see weighs about 20 pounds. I can hardly lift.
A
Anyway,
good paperweight.
I thought if people have questions, so I was in New York and we did the presentation and the final pitch and all of that. That was that, and the first one, Horizon Prize, was for-profit companies by and
Correct.
large. This one looks like it is for 501(c)s or nonprofits. Is that
That's
so? It's a
correct.
little bit different focus. So my question is, so I have two companies, a for-profit that won the prize, and then I have a nonprofit that Horizon and Amgen have supported over the last few years, supporting the growth of the foundation. Am I still eligible to apply for additional funding by applying for the Horizon Prize, or is that double dipping kind of thing? I'm trying to understand what you want to do there.
Yeah, that's a great question. Can you give me a little bit of understanding of the for-profit and the nonprofit? Are they doing the same work and you just have them separated in business? Are there different organizations more or less entirely?
They're totally different,
Okay.
other than me. I just
Yeah.
finding companies. But anyway, the for-profit company was about looking at medical records and the web to find undiagnosed patients and getting them into treatment. But what we found is that as we were doing that once we found patients, nobody knew about the patient. The healthcare system didn't know about them. The patient certainly didn't know what they had. So we formed the foundation to give out grants to educate that population, and that's what they do. So it's an education kind of thing. Uh, for at-risk patients, where we do scholarships, we do a lot of things, but it's in the same space, but it's the other end of the population that once you identify someone, how do you get them diagnosed and treated? So
Yep.
we couldn't do that with the for-profit company because nobody would pay us to do that.
Got it.
So anyway, that's what the nonprofit does, and that's why I think
Great.
Horizon and then recently Amgen has supported this as well.
So my thought here
Yeah,
is if the nonprofit side is doing significantly, different but complementary work to your for-profit side, and the nonprofit side has perhaps been supported but not ever won a past Horizon Prize,
right.
I would think you were still eligible to apply
Okay,
for
that's my
this
question.
year.
If I'm eligible, I'd love to do it again. I mean, I enjoyed the process before, win or lose. It was a great
But I'll
process.
leave it maybe to my lead Noelle to see if she disagrees with
Yeah.
me a little bit.
No, I think you're correct, Tay, but David, this is obviously a very specific case.
Right.
So I would say let us chat and we'll get back to you in the next day or so.
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to go through all that effort if you're if it's
Absolutely.
appropriate. If it is appropriate, I'd love to play. If it's not, that's okay too. Thank you.
Great.
I don't know if
Thank
there's any questions for me just about the process, because having lived through it once in the middle of the pandemic, that was pretty wild being in New York all masked up. But so I don't know what. I'm happy to do that if you'd like, or I'll just go quiet now and let you guys continue.
Okay, thank you so much, David. And really great to have you again. And just coming back shows just how hopefully impactful this prizes have been in the past for you. Other questions from folks?
I have a question. So I didn't raise my hand through the chat, but I did
That's
raise
all
it.
fine.
Did you see it? Okay. We work in Colombia, South America, and we've been there for about 7 years on a social development project in the rural communities of Colombia with patients with the high prevalence of Huntington's disease. So even though we have 4 pillars, one of them is health and well-being, we work on getting the patients on that one pillar directly into registered in the healthcare system, because they're just like what David was saying, that nobody knows they're even there. They're not registered in the healthcare system because of where they live in the rural communities, and nobody even knows they have it. So if you look at the data for Colombia, they're like, oh, there's 200 patients in the whole country that have Huntington's disease, and we have more than that in just one community.
Yeah.
So, and then you have the at-risk. So my question is, when you talk about innovative approach, we don't necessarily, because they're in the rural communities and there's not a lot of access to any type of internet or anything like that, we do most of our stuff through WhatsApp. When we work with the kids, we work with the caregivers, we do solidarity economy and sustainability and build up micro businesses and things like that. So we're coming at this wicked problem at all different angles doing that. Is that an issue? Because we're kind of like adapting different things that are out there so that's not an issue. Okay.
No, I mean, I think one of the things that we really look for within our innovative approach is connecting it to that, inclusive human-centered designing. How well do you know your context, your community? How well are you able to adapt your approaches to really meet them for where they're at? And how are you able to change your approaches to make sure that your solution reaches the impact that it has? So we've had, for other challenges, plenty of folks who have used WhatsApp as sort of their innovation because it's what is most used with their populations and things like that. So I think your solution sounds really exciting, actually, and really innovative in the ways that you're describing already.
Great. Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Renee.
Hey, Tay, there's a question in the chat about the other 4 finalists who do not win the $150,000 prize.
Yes. So there's only one monetary prize. That is the $150,000 for the one final winner. The 4 other finalists, they will come to New York City during this high-profile event during United Nations General Assembly Week. They will have stage time. They will have press and media. They will have ample amounts of networking with leaders of different governmental, non-governmental, profit organizations as well. So there will be no additional monetary prize, but there will be a lot of other opportunities to build your network, to showcase your solution, and to hopefully gain partnerships or collaborations from that showcase.
And one other quick thing that I'll add is that the winner of the prize will be selected by a panel of expert judges, and those are judges from all different backgrounds. Folks who are working in nonprofits in the rare disease area, folks who are at foundations, academia, kind of all different backgrounds. And so one of our hopes is also that you'll be able to make some connections within that judging panel that could at some point, lead to either partnerships between organizations or potentially funding. But obviously we can't promise that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Noelle. I see another question in the chat around whether innovation requires new technology. For this For this challenge, absolutely not. Your solution need not center or focus on technology at all. Like I just described regarding WhatsApp, it could be, you know, a well-used type of technology that's being implemented in new ways or innovative ways with different communities as well. But though we're also looking for solutions that are taking different approaches to, you know, business models or different ways of solving the problem that not necessarily center on tech. Well, good. Did that? Okay, great. Other questions?
I do have one more. With
Yeah.
regards to when we're doing, this will be the last one. I won't take everyone's time.
No, it's
When
fine.
when we're doing the application, uploading videos, the little 2-minute pitch at the end, that type of thing. So we've done one application before and didn't get chosen, but then MIT recommended this one, which is perfect because that's what we do. We work in rare diseases,
Awesome.
or with rare diseases. So as we upload different, like, is it too much? Is sometimes we send it because we have a lot of stuff. So if we send like too many things, are you just looking for send us everything you got that fits what you're actually submitting? And then I'm just wondering, is there a limit on that?
Yeah, so within the application itself, there will be like noted file limits, character
Okay.
limits, things like this. Definitely, if you already have a little pitch video, please do upload it. Those end
Okay.
up being really nice at different points in the selection process for people to be able to reference and look at. There isn't space within our application, for example, to upload a portfolio or things like
Oh,
this.
no. Yeah.
I would say sometimes people circumvent this and they'll try to put a link into a Google folder or something like that. Those aren't really looked at by us just in terms of our capacity, but also equity across all of our other applicants. We'll only look at the limitations so that everybody has the exact same amount of information that they're allowed to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I would double down on that and just really encourage you to put any and all of the critical information into the application versus uploading files
Yeah.
that have that.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Well, because some of the things I'll ask for, like what's the demographic in the area and, you know, what's versus your population versus the entire population. So sometimes we would put a link saying, you know, we would put the data, but then put the link if they wanted additional information to see like this is a red zone,
Oh, yeah.
meaning the conflict was super high in Columbia in these areas, adding to the exclusion, the isolation, you know, the cultural issues in those communities because of being completely massacred during the conflict. So yeah.
So if it's a question of sort of citing your sources or providing more context, especially in sort of what is the problem that you're solving or what is your solution, by all means, feel free to put some links so that whoever is reviewing is able to click on that if they want that additional context to be able to assess your solution. However, just I would advise again, don't link out to information about the work that you are doing. Specifically, put that in the application.
Yeah, no, we'll put that in the application. Okay, no, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I see another question in the chat. How many prizes will be given out in total? So the answer to that is 1. There will be 1 monetary prize of $150,000 given to 1 winner who will be selected in September. Would the finalists, apart from those invited to New York City event, also be selected? So there will only be 5 finalists who are selected, and all 5 finalists will be invited to pitch in New York. And from those 5 finalists will come the 1 eventual winner. Maybe helpful at this point to just add the part of the pitching. What happens is 5 finalists will go to New York. They'll be on stage. You'll pitch your event. We will also have our judges in attendance. It will be a live pitch to the audience and to a group of judges who are there. After all the pitches are done, those judges in attendance will move into a room to do a final deliberation for who amongst those 5 finalists who pitched will become the ultimate winner. And from their deliberation is how we will select the $150,000 to go to one solution. I hope
One other very quick thing to add is that there are several stages of review to get to those 5 finalists.
Mhm.
So there will be a set of semi-finalists. So that will be listed on MIT Solve's website. So the semi-finalists, the finalists, and then ultimately the winner.
I do have one more question.
Mhm.
A lot of what we do in our videos are in Spanish because that's the community that we work with. If it has English subtitles, is that that's okay? All right,
That's fine.
thank you.
Great. Any other questions? This is really your time to get paid, engage with us. Yes, travel expenses to New York will be covered by MIT Solve and Amgen.
Can I ask David a real quick question since he offered? Is that
Yeah.
okay? So David, when you were chosen as the finalist, did you take your whole team with you? Did you just go, like, how did the presentation when you had to get up on stage? How
It
did
was
that work?
me because that was the payment to Kevin. I live in
Oh, that's
Boston, so
COVID.
New York was no big deal, but it was in the middle of COVID, so it was really crazy. We got tested every day before we could get into the center, and it really is, as they said, it's a global thing. We were brought on stage right behind John Kerry. That's the kind of level of things that are going on in this place. So to me, it was just an incredible experience. However, it turned out, just being one of the 5 there and being able to talk to the audience and meet people, and it's been very good for our business. Whether we'd won or not, it would still been good for our business, just making it that far. I was as surprised as everybody else. It's a long process.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's amazing.
It is
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. And Renee, maybe this will also help. Tay mentioned when she was talking about the applications that you need to identify a team lead who will represent your solution. It is only the team lead who would receive the passes to the Concordia Summit and be there to pitch live. If you
Got it.
decide to bring someone else to attend other events that week, wonderful. But again, for equity reasons, because if we do have a team, let's say that's already based in New York and then one in,
Yes.
let's say, Kenya, we don't want one team to have multiple attendees and another only have one.
Oh, that makes sense. That's fair. I get it. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Then there's a question in the chat that I don't know the answer to. So, Noelle, I don't know if you know it, or perhaps we might need to take some time and think about that before getting back.
Yeah, so Flora, if there are visa fees associated with travel to New York, I think we'd probably handle that on a case-by-case basis. Let us confirm and get back to you that we can indeed reimburse that. Sometimes we have some rules around things. But long story short, if a team lead, for whatever reason, let's say you can't get a visa appointment, if a team lead cannot attend, we usually will work with the finalists to ensure that a member of their team, another member of their team can attend, or that we have a virtual way of that person pitching at the event and still participating. So let us get back to you about the fees.
Wonderful. Other questions? All right, I'm also going to drop into the chat an email in which you can go ahead and reach out to if you have questions further questions pertaining to the prize overall, that'll get redirected to us. But also, this is an email that you can utilize if you're having any technical difficulties with the application itself in terms of the website. If you have questions around the application, you can use this email. If you're, a day away from the deadline and the submit button just isn't working, you can also go ahead and please reach out to this email as well. So I'll just put a last call out there for any other questions from the group. All right. Well, you have the email, so you'll be able to get caught up with us if a question comes to your mind in the next 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days. Just a reminder that we are 2 weeks away from the close of this call, so please do keep applying. If you have folks who could be eligible for this, who maybe haven't heard of this prize yet, please do send them along the information as well. We really want to spread the word and spread the impact of the work that you're all doing, but also the benefits that this prize is able to bring to people working within the rare disease ecosystem. So thank you all so much for your time and interest in joining us today. And hopefully we'll be reading your applications soon.
Right. Thank you.
Great. Bye, everybody.